Hello, everybody. I'm Richard Brzezowski with the University of Maine Cooperative Extension. I'm your moderator for today. And today's session of the National Training Workshop virtual session and virtual harvest workshop is update on USDA's support for veterans. But before we start, I want to make sure that everyone understands there's some housekeeping things to do. So first, mute your microphone and rename your screen with your first and last name if you have not done so already. If you need closed captioning, you can click on the closed caption button on the bottom of the Zoom screen. If you have questions, please type them in the chat box and we will answer them as time allows. We will be recording this session. It'll be available on the National AgrAbility website at a later date. And at the end of the session, there'll be an evaluation. So please click on the link in the chat box to complete an evaluation. So today is going to be a really good presentation, like all the others for National Training Workshop. Our speaker today is William B. Ashton. William B. Ashton was born in New York City. He attended schools in the boroughs of Brooklyn and Queens. Upon graduation from St. Francis Prep in 1976, he joined the U.S. Navy. During his 23-year career, he advanced from seaman, recruit, enlisted man, to a lieutenant commander, an officer, and retired in 1999. He had a very diverse career, qualifying in submarine in 1978 aboard the USS L. Mendel Rivers. And he was reassigned as the nuclear machinist mate detailer in 1980. Bill served on the personal staff of the Chief of Naval Operations and attained the grade of Yeoman First Class, which is and was submarine qualified in that rank. In 1984, he received orders to Naval Research Laboratory Field Site Detachment, and in 1986 was commissioned an ensign under the Limited Duty Officer Program. Upon retirement from the U.S. Navy in 1999, he accepted a job as the Director of Operations for Winner International, the manufacturer and distributor of the steering wheel locking device known as the Club. He also became the Vice President for Operations of Winter Advertising after 16 of the 17 personnel left the company. Rebuilding the company within 3 months, he was then asked to take over as Chief Executive Officer and Director of Winter Institute of Arts and Science, where the school attained candidacy to accreditation and Title IX funding under his leadership. From April 2015 to January 2018, he served as a security director for the Commander Naval Sea Systems Command Headquarters to lead the security efforts of the command. As a director for security, he was responsible for 4 divisions to include operations, inspections, information industrial, and the technology protection and international security. So Bill, we're so happy to have you as a presenter today. We're really excited about the presentation to take place now. It's all yours.
Hey, thank you, Richard and Tess, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm just going to give you a quick overview of what Richard said in my career. If you haven't figured it out, I've kind of moved around quite a bit in different areas there. And the reason I do that is because I try to get out of there before somebody realizes that I really don't know what I'm talking about. So that being said, I'm over here in agriculture now, which is truly unbelievable. And I'm going to share my screen here. Okay, did the screen come up? Did I do good?
Yes,
okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So I've been with the Department of Agriculture for about 3 years. The thing that brought me to the Department of Agriculture was the military veteran agriculture liaison job that was put into effect with the Farm Bill in 2014. And I just have a passion for taking care of veterans. So I said, well, I'll give it a shot. And boy, was it one shot, because I had no clue what all USDA does for veterans. And so that's going to be my brief, and I'll answer any questions to the best of my ability when we go through it. So I'm trying to do an icebreaker here. So this young man here, Elmo. Well, Elmo stands for enough, let's move on. So if I get yakking too much here, please feel free to type in the chat, Elmo, just so I know I should be moving on. So the military veteran agricultural liaison here at USDA consists of two people. And we take care of whatever we can with veterans throughout the nation, overseas, to include places like Guam. We've had people call us from Iraq. We've had people call us from Afghanistan. It doesn't really matter where they are. They give us a call. So there I am on the left, retired Navy, and my colleague is Manchi Ramdas, and he is a command sergeant major, retired from the United States Army, and he spent 24 years with the Army, and I spent 23 with the Navy. So one of the things I like to make sure everyone understands is, USDA really does support American heroes and provide opportunities and resources to veterans. And what I'm going to talk about is our 3 E's, our 3 pillars is employment, and then education, and then entrepreneurship. So one of the things I like to start off with is, did you know? And so we serve those who have served us. My tagline to everything is veterans don't know what veterans don't know, and it's not their fault. And this goes with agriculture, the VA, any other thing. It's not your fault, you just didn't know. We all have taken an oath of office, both enlisted and officer, and in my opinion, we don't have an expiration of that oath. And we want to continue to serve our communities. One of the things I'm going to show you, this is for people doing any kind of research. If you're not familiar with the Institute for Veterans and Military Families, they're out of Syracuse. They have a report called the V-Start, and I'm going to show you a screenshot of it here shortly, but to give you an idea if you wanted to do any kind of research on veterans information. I also ask everyone to take the Veterans Crisis Line phone number, put it in your cell phone so that if you or any of your colleagues are feeling issues of possible suicide or things like that, that you have that number handy and give that call. And, veterans press 1, and on the other end of that is a veteran that you'll talk to. The last thing, did you know, many people get that DD-214 when they leave the United States Armed Forces, very proud of that. And, life goes on, and then the next thing you know, something happens to them. Your DD-214 is what I like to say, your gold card to VA benefits. And what I try to get everyone to understand, and I've had a number of cases where I've helped people where the service member has passed on. They went and met with their supreme commander. And then the family is trying to get, whether it's a burial in a national cemetery or, a flag, et cetera, when the person's dead. If they can't get a hold of that DD-214, that's going to prolong a lot of things. So what I ask is, if you are a service member out there listening, make sure somebody other than yourself knows where the DD-214 is, because it's kind of hard to wake up somebody who has passed on and ask them where their DD-214 is. So those are just some of the things there that I'd like to bring up. This is the VStat. And this is demographics. It goes to labor, education. You can drill down to counties. But this is just some background. It tells you the population of veterans in the state, the unemployment, what's the median income, growing occupations in the state, and who's using their educational benefits. It's a free site to go to. It doesn't cost you anything. If you really wanted to do any kind of research in the state that you're in to find out where veterans are or something like that, this is a great site to go to. So a lot of questions come up of why veterans? Why do you think veterans are so important to agriculture and to rural areas and things like that? And when I was doing the research and building my brief, I never realized that 19% of the military come from rural America. And there's about 233,000 vets, which is about 1.2%, report being in agriculture-related occupations, industry, or in the field. And approximately 5 million live in rural America. And veterans, all we want is meaningful work and the quality of life that can be achieved through farming, ranching, community leadership, and owning a small business. And USDA needs veterans so that together we can preserve and strengthen rural communities, restore and conserve the environment. And one of the things I talk to people about also is veterans have characteristics that are needed in agriculture, in agribusiness, in a rural business. And I tell people, don't underestimate these characteristics that I'm about to talk to you about, because you, having served in the military, have a tendency to believe that these are natural, everyone has them. Well, I can tell you, I've been in the civilian sector and I have been with the federal government for almost 20 years. Not everyone has these characteristics. Your dependability, your integrity, the decision-making, the leadership, the adaptability, the tenacity, the attention to detail and discipline and teamwork that you get from being in the military that you believe are just natural. So keep those in mind, and definitely keep them in mind when you're putting your resume together. So in the office that I work in, myself and my colleague, Ram is what he goes by, and he's down in Fort Pierce, Florida. We work with the DoD Skill Bridge program, and I'll talk more about that later on in the brief. USDA has 3 approved apprenticeships from the Department of Labor: agriculture commodity graders, we have wildland firefighters, and food inspectors. We also collaborate with a number of federal agencies and organizations. Well, obviously, with the Department of Labor with apprenticeships, the Department of Defense with their DoD Skill Bridge program, and the Department of Veterans Affairs, the Veterans Benefit Administration, and Veterans Health Administration, the National Association of State Directors of Agriculture, Veterans Affairs, state workforce agencies. We work with the veteran service organizations, the VSOs like the American Legion, the Veterans of Foreign Wars, Disabled American Veterans. We also work very closely with the Farmer Veteran Coalition that has about 33,000 veterans who are in farming. We also work with the Military Spouse Employment Program and Soldier for Life. So just kind of a quick overview on some of our veterans that we highlighted. Up in the top left-hand corner, you have Carlina Williams. She's a Navy veteran, and she started her own business with a mobile juice business, and she eventually franchised the business. The middle person there on the left-hand side is Rupert Richards. He's an Air Force veteran, a retired E9. He works in our agriculture marketing service, specialty crops, inspection and training. And Rupert he's also a master instructor from the Air Force. And he was able to crack the nut on how to get an apprenticeship approved through the Department of Labor. And so he is a great asset to us besides working in AMS and the inspection and training branch. The bottom left-hand one is Angela Mulder, and she's another Air Force veteran who just enjoys working on a veteran's farm. The top right, you'll see 2 gentlemen, they better known as smoke jumpers. I like to say these are the ones who fight the fires from the inside out. And the last one on the right is a Marine, Calvin Riggleman, who went back home to his family's farm, and he transformed them into a wide range of condiments. So let me talk a little about veterans employment within the USDA. So what do? Well, I say we, pretty much my colleague Ram, he matches skills and qualifications to careers at USDA. He'll review people's resumes, their federal resume, explain the federal hiring process for USA jobs and the authorities and what can be done. There's over 290 series that people can be hired to. in USDA. I mean, these are some examples here. I'll give you another one. We hire real estate agents in USDA. Criminal justice, people question that one quite often to say, what, do you got problems in your offices there, criminal justice people? No, but we do have crop insurance, as most of you are probably aware of. And so one of the great things about people who are coming out of the military are veterans who possibly was military police or master at arms. They're known for writing reports. And as you know, with crop insurance or any kind of insurance you have, the first thing that happens is somebody comes out to take a report on what happened. So we truly enjoy hiring those people. Soil conservation technician, the Army does have something close to that. Contracting and procurement, obviously that's a big one in any business. Information technology, food inspection and public health. The Army has an MOS on food inspection. We truly enjoy going to Fort Hood and talking to people there. I mentioned smoke jumper to you earlier. Finance people, as most of you know on the line here, that USDA is a bank. We do farm service loans. We do rural development loans. So guess what? We need loan officers. So if you have a background in finance, we'd like to hire you. And then economics. So I talked about the paid apprenticeships we have. The agriculture commodity graders, it's a 12-month training program. Wildland firefighters, this one here is a 3,000-hour on-the-job learning program through the Forest Services. And this really works out well because for some people who have decided to go to school, and when they're off from school and they want to get in and have a job and everything like that, there may be an apprenticeship where they're at under Forest Service to look at. The food inspector and consumer safety inspector, I talked a little about that, how we really like to get the Army personnel who have that MOS and food inspectors. And we list dairy grazers. This is a nonprofit organization. It is not under USDA, but I just want to let you know that there are other ones and they include full-time employment. I talked earlier during the brief about the DoD Skill Bridge program and career skills program. The same program, career skills, is what the Army calls DoD Skill Bridge program. And so what this program is it allows personnel active duty who are still on active duty and a year before their retirement or their separation, they can go to work at a civilian company to learn to have some training done. The civilian company does not have to pay them because they're already being paid by the government because they're still on active duty. And what this does is really help our servicemen and women to put something on their resumes that they actually have had some experience in the civilian sector. Ideally, this program allows, the hope of this program, I should say, is that they will hire you when you either separate or retire from the government, from the service. It's a great program. We talk about jobs again at USDA. If you go to our website, which you'll see here in a little bit, I actually have a link for USA jobs that are pre-filtered to open to the public, veterans and military spouses. And at the end of each one of these pillars that I talk about, these are the reference links that will help you in finding more information on things like that there. One of the things I do want to just mention while I'm here, but and I think I have the next slide. Let me see. Okay, now last year, USDA in fiscal year 20 hired 2,284 veterans. We love to hire veterans. And there's special hiring authorities that we can use for veterans. I am going to go through these quickly. I'm not going to read each one of them to you. Hopefully Tess and Richard, these slides will be available to our people who are on the line, so that's great. So there are special hiring authorities for both veterans and military spouses. So we have goals at USDA at 25% of all our new hire veterans, 1 out of every 4 new hire, 25% of our workforce are veterans, and currently we only have 13%. And then 10% of our workforce are disabled veterans. That's our goal. These are the 4 different areas that people can be hired, veterans can be hired under. The last one, that's anyone that is not just veterans, but veterans recruitment appointment, VRA, 30% or more disabled veterans, veterans employment opportunities, and the last one, Schedule A, individuals with disabilities. And that's for veterans and non-veterans. So each one of these here, it talks in depth to them. I'm not going to go over them, but I just want you to know that they're part of the slide deck here. The 30% or more disabled veterans, Veterans Employment Opportunity Act, and then Schedule A appointments. So I can't see the chat room. So was there anything in the employment portion that we have any questions? And you don't have to have them now. We can wait till the end, but I'm just checking to see if there was
a question about the VStat. Where is the link to get that information on VStat, the statistics that you had a slide about state,
Yep.
By the state?
So as you can see, I thought I had it on here. Let me just back up a little here.
It was one of your first slides.
Yeah. Yeah, it's right here. That's the link to the Institute for Veterans and Military VStat. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, I probably ought to move it to the back like all the other ones. Thanks. Okay, any other questions on the employment portion? Okay, if something comes up, we'll continue to answer them there. And we talked about the special hiring authorities. So education. Purdue University Research did a study for us, and from 2020 to 2025, the number of new college graduates annually seeking employment opportunities in food and agriculture, renewable natural resources, and environment will remain strong. Approximately 59,400 available jobs. And these are the jobs that we're looking at: plant science, food science, environmental science, sustainable biomaterials, water resource science and engineering, precision agriculture, and veterinarian medicine. And when people are transitioning out of the military, they may not want to go to school for 4 years or 2 years to get a degree. And there's a number of institutions and organizations that offer certificates in sustainable agriculture. There's student farms, and so getting hands-on education and things like that. And when I talk to veterans, I say some of the requirements to get a loan from USDA in the Farm Service Agency requires some education. One thing I will say to everyone here is if you really have any questions about some of the requirements, I recommend that you go to your local office, your USDA office, and ask those questions there. I don't want anybody who finishes this, listening to this brief says, well, I listened to this guy, Bill Ashton, and he said, what he said was you ought to go to the local office, because they're the ones who are probably going to be doing your loan processing or anything else there. There's farm training and apprenticeship, which equip veterans with the right tools and the skills to gain experience that's needed, as I said, to participate in some of the USDA programs. ACTRA is the Arm to Farm program, is for military veterans and provides training, conferences, presentations, 2-day workshops, or week-long training events. And as I mentioned earlier, the Farmer Veteran Coalition consists of about 33,000 veterans who are farmers, and it's great camaraderie because they want to make sure that you don't experience maybe a fail in starting your farm or a small business or something like that that they may have experienced. You may or may not be aware of the extension programs that work with our universities to provide non-formal education and learning activities directly to ag producers, small business owners, consumers, and families throughout the country. A lot of people are not aware of the fact that the USDA actually has a scholarship program. We have USDA has the 1890s, which is the historically Black land grant colleges and universities. And we also have the 1994s, which are the tribal university land grants. And it provides tuition, fees, books, room, board, students pursuing degrees, obviously in agriculture, food, natural resource, and related academic disciplines. What I tell everyone when I'm talking about scholarships is this is not an easy program. It's very, very competitive. But I want you to know that we have that type of program. And here are the links to pretty much everything in the education area that I discussed. So I don't know if there's any questions in the chat room about the education portion of it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get on to the entrepreneurship. And of course, farmers are entrepreneurs. But that's not all that USDA does for entrepreneurship. So as I said, farmers are entrepreneurs, and you can get access to capital and land and help you manage your risk. And we have microloans, operating loans, and farm ownership loans. When I talk about these, this is the ones that you need to go to the local office and talk to them about it, because when we say we have loans for people, these loans are for people who cannot get a commercial loan. So if you go into a USDA farm service agency and are looking to get a loan to buy a farm, well, they'll do a quick look at your financial profile, and if they make the determination that you would qualify for a commercial loan through a commercial bank, then that's where you're going to go. If you get turned down by a commercial bank, that's when USDA will lend you the money. Caveat, there are requirements that you need to meet if we give you a loan, and it normally takes a veteran 2 years to get those requirements done. So if you're thinking about a farm or anything like that, and you're a veteran, I highly recommend you go to your local office, find out what it is, and start looking at the requirements for them. We do have transition incentive programs for land, enhancing the land quality, our EQIP program, agriculture easement program, conservation stewardship program. I highly recommend whoever is on our tel video this afternoon is, if you're into farming and things like that, if you haven't already contacted your local office, especially the NRCS, contact them and let them come out and do a survey on your land to see if there are some things that you can improve in the conservation stewardship program. I mentioned earlier the fact that we have crop insurance, technical assistance. This is NRCS, conservation technical assistance. Again, please contact your local USDA office. And this just gives you some sort of an idea of how much money, and these numbers are strictly to veterans. Okay, so if this is what we're doing with veterans, you can imagine what we're doing across the nation, and to include non-veterans. But in our programs, and I'll just go with, you can see the numbers here, but I'll just talk about FY20, 119.5 million in direct loans and 91.6 million in guaranteed loans for Farm Service Agency. And then in rural development, this is a big one here. USDA is responsible for the development of rural America. And a lot of people don't realize that you could go into the rural area and possibly buy a home and come to USDA for that loan. That's normally one of the wows of my brief, that people say, really, you can buy? Yes, you can. And just to give you an idea, in FY20, USDA, again, helping veterans, 172.2 million in direct loans and 23 million in guaranteed loans for home loans or refinancing current home loan or home repairs. Again, that's a rural development program. So again, just go into the local RD office and ask them about these programs. We also have rural development has a broadband reconnect program. This is a major issue in rural areas of connectivity to our people in rural America. So we have programs where a business who will go out and put broadband in the rural area, we have grants and loans for that. Another one that has come up is USDA's distant learning and telemedicine grant program. We have those grants there for people who are interested in that. In some cases, there's matching funds and things like that. Again, I don't want you to say, well, this guy, Bill Ashton, said there's a grant program for telemedicine and I want to do it, so how about giving me a grant? It's not going to work that way. And then the Entrepreneurship from Farm to Fork program. We have veterans who are part of the community, and new and beginning farmers are eligible for USDA programs to help start and continue a career in farming. Each state has a new and beginning farmers liaison that you can check with your local office who can help you with that. There's the Farmer Discovery Tool. If you're not familiar with that, that's another great tool that's on USDA's website that talks about, wherever you're going to settle and you want to grow. Let's say you're going to settle in Iowa and you say you want to grow watermelon, it's probably going to tell you not a good thing to do. Okay. So it'll give you some ideas of what you should be growing in those areas. One of the things that we have, and this is more toward the FSA loans, is that we connect you with a mentor, attend workshops, and when you get a loan from USDA for Farm Service Agency, it is a requirement, not an option, for you to have a mentor from the SCORE program, which is the Service Corps of Retired Executives. These are people that are willing to give up their time, who have been successful business people and want to help you succeed also. The statistics you see in there, got them from the Department of Labor. A lot of people don't realize that veterans represent about 6% of the US population, but account for 13.5% of the US small businesses, which is about 3.7 million. We employ about 5.8 million Americans. We pay wages in excess of $210 billion, generate 1.1 trillion in receipts, and we produce 1.17 trillion in the US GDP. So, veterans can help strengthen and develop rural communities by starting or expanding a rural business. And USDA has preferred commercial loans and loan guarantees. We have processing and marketing products. We have the agriculture marketing service that's within USDA, energy efficiency improvements. On the right-hand side there, you see Torrance Hart. She's an Air Force veteran. She now runs a successful e-business called Tweak and Twine. When I give my brief, I speak to veterans all the time, and I say, hey, you're going to go back home and take over the family farm, because the age of our farmers is increasing about from 62 years old to 65. So we need that new generation to come back and take over the farms. And when I talk to people, they say, hey, look, I did the honorable thing. I joined the military just to get out of there. And I said, well, are you going to go home? I said, well, there's no jobs for me there, you know. So I talked to him about, you know, the business and industry program that USDA has, where you could go back home and maybe start a gym or a bakery. In this case, this person particularly did an e-commerce business. Um, so there are things that you can do to go back home and start up, you know, business in rural America. The one thing I will say about all of the things I've talked about, whether it be entrepreneurship, whether it's farming, whatever it may be, I highly recommend getting in touch with the small business administration that's near you. They're normally called, I think, CBOCs. They normally have training for creating a business plan. Business plan is probably the major the major thing, that hurdle that you're going to have to get over to get any kind of whether it be a loan, guaranteed loans, and things like that. You got to have that business plan, and the Small Business Administration is very helpful in getting that information to you, and the training and how to develop one. So I just want to put that out there for everyone. And these are the entrepreneurship resources. I mentioned the new farmers, the discovery, there's a SCORE program, rural development, eligibility map. So when I talked about whether you could buy a home in an area there, you could go to this site, type in the address, it'll tell you whether it's in a rural area. The Small Business Administration, TAP, this is SBA's Boots to Business program that they have. And I kind of jumped over it. I really apologize for that. But one of the things down here is, do you want to start a franchise in entrepreneurship? So this, got a phone call one day. The gentleman said he's from VetFran. I had no idea what he was talking about. And it's a subset of the International Franchise Association. And VetFran is about 650 franchise that really just want veterans to run their franchises. And so what they do in this particular case is they will possibly waive or cut startup costs for a franchise, but it's just another great opportunity if you're looking to do that. And when you go to their website, it'll list all of the franchises that are out there that are looking to, that's part of the veteran franchising. And again, these are all of the links to those there. One last thing I do want to share with everyone on the line here, sometimes a difficult conversation that we're hoping we're changing the stigma of this program, but food insecurity with veterans happens to be very high. And so we're trying to get the word out there that there is no embarrassment to apply for SNAP, AKA food stamps. You may have heard that USDA just increased the amount for food stamps that was put out, I believe, yesterday or Sunday by the secretary. This can all be done online in most states. I think there's 1 or 2 states that you still have to go into an office. You can do it online and apply for the SNAP program. Some people say, well, I applied for SNAP and, hey, look, I only got $25 a month, so it's really not worth it for me. Well, what SNAP is sort of like a gold card at USDA. If you're eligible for SNAP, no matter what the amount is, it may in fact open up other doors for you and your family. For instance, you may be eligible for the free lunch for children going to school and things like that. We also have workforce training within the SNAP program. So there's a lot of things there that people don't realize about that. WIC is another one, eligibility for WIC. So we put that out there, and I guess if I was to say there was anything good that possibly came out of this pandemic, it would be that the SNAP program, we've worked with a number of grocery organizations where we actually can do buying groceries online. And for those who think that the old food stamps, people were ripping off coupons and everything like that, it's an EBT card, so it looks like a bank card, to be very honest with you. No one would really ever know. And so we're just trying to get over that stigma, that don't be afraid to ask for assistance when you need assistance. And I think, okay, and that's my brief, and I'm sticking to it. You can see there's my email, my phone number. This veterans at osec.usda.gov is one that we ask you to use if you want to talk about employment and everything like that. This is where our service centers are throughout the United States. And of course, here is our website on USDA's website. So with that being said, I'm more than happy to answer any questions that we may have there, Richard or Tess.
I don't see any coming into the chat box yet, but feel free to put them in the chat box, or you can verbally say them if you'd like. A couple things I wouldn't mind saying myself. I started out going to a 2-year program. It was an associate degree in animal science. And a lot of times, well, those schools are usually very practical. You may have to take one English or one language course or one math course, but all the rest is all applied science. So whether it's plant science or animal science or ag mechanics, there's every state has a schools with associate degrees in agriculture.
So Richard, we'll probably look to hire you in APHIS, I guess, huh?
And also, I shared a website from University of Minnesota. It's supposed to, I'm not a good typist, so it's anybody can use it. It's farmers who are interested in having because sometimes writing that farm business plan that you mentioned, Bill, is tough. But this is a template from University of Minnesota Ag Plan. It's in the chat box, so it's free to use, and a lot of farmers are using that to develop their business plans. And you can keep changing. Your business plan doesn't stay the same all the time.
Richard, I'll add one other thing here that I didn't mention earlier, but I've really come to find out that, if you decide that you want to get into a farm, when I'm talking to veterans and they're transitioning out of the military, I said, look, you don't have to buy 100 acres. As a matter of fact, I don't even recommend you do that. Only because, start small. You could go with 2 or 3, 5 acres and things like that and grow. But the other thing that I've learned over the 3 years that I've been here is that farming is a family affair. This is not something that just one person is going to do it. You have to get buy-in from the entire family if you're going to do that. And when you're starting out, most probably one person in the family household is going to work outside the household for income. So it's a very hard job. It's 7 days a week, and it's very tough. And that's why, veterans kind of fit the bill pretty good, because we're kind of used to that type of environment. But, it's definitely something you want to look at, before you jump into something like this.
Please note in the chat box, Eileen from Tennessee AgrAbility put another site in. It's from for resources for veterans. A lot of the ones that Bill mentioned are at that site too. Thank you, Eileen. Any other questions for Bill? Because it's a great time to ask. Get it right from the source. Bill,
I was just going to say, Rich, if they have other questions later on, they have our email address, and we'd be more than happy to answer them.
I have a question for you. If a state wants you to come or to come virtually, they might have a workshop for veterans. Would you be the person to ask, or you have other people that get sent out around the country to speak to different groups, if an AgrAbility group or a farm group?
Well, because of the pandemic and we're doing everything virtual, I would say that we're more than happy to do it. The other side of it, when we don't, if there is a norm, or I should say pre-pandemic, it's only myself and Ram who do these briefs here. So depending on the dollars that we have, which is not much, to be very honest with you. So we are kind of getting used to this virtual type stuff.
Sure.
But asking us to come to give a brief, we'd be more than happy to.
And yeah, it's pretty efficient. The virtual presentation is really efficient. We learned so much in this past 45 minutes. So thank you so much for being here today and presenting. Any other questions for Bill? Or any comments you want to make about maybe your outreach to veterans in your own states? Bill, we've had close to 50 people throughout the presentation, so you've done a great job of reaching across the country today.
Great. Well, once again, thank you all for allowing me to, participate in your virtual conferences that you do. So thank you all very much.
And Tess, are you going to share the link to the evaluation piece where people can connect there?
Yep, the link is in the chat box.
Okay, great. I didn't see that. So also you see what's planned for next week. It's a panel presentation. Again, farmer veterans will be the focus. So I hope you come back to listen to that and be a part of that one and tell friends about it.
Okay, well, again, thank you all and have a great afternoon and enjoy yourselves. And Richard, what a pleasure to meet you, fellow Navy guy, and thank you for your service, and any others that are on our teleconference. Thank you for your services. Appreciate that. And Tess, always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Tess. Great job today, Bill. And yeah, I hope you have a great season. Well, summer's wrapping up this way, but I know it's pretty hot across the country. So
yeah, I think, Richard, in Maine, there's 2 seasons, the 4th of July and winter, correct? I think that's what I was told.
yeah, that's been said before. Yeah.
All right, everyone, take care. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Bye.